right. Thank you. You know, it's fun things out there. Fun things out there.
Yes, I made it. Hold on, let me just adjust
All
this on my
right.
side. Yay.
I'm
Hey,
good. I'm
JT, how
good.
are you? Hey, so who's
So
up
I'm going to
next?
keep us with this timer here. It's 6:02. So we're going to keep this honest. We have about 6 people with us today. So thank y'all for joining us. We keep it real casual. I'm Jessica Townsend. This is our second week of doing the 20-minute power talk, and it's totally awesome. My co-host, Lamika Weeks, it's just my 2 cents, is also in the audience. And we have a special guest today, my dear friend and her zany self, Heather Gunn. So, Heather, because we only have 20 minutes, I want to get right into it. We're talking about branding with Audacity today. So, let's go into it. And this is a conversation. It's not an interview, it's a conversation.
I thought, girl, I thought you was gonna ask me a question. I'm still trying to get adjusted to LinkedIn Live. You know me. So listen, hello, people. As y'all know, I am never on IG, but I'm here today. I am Heather Gunn. I drive, and for those of you who do not know me, I do several things. So I drive revenue growth in the B2B space by delivering unforgettable, and I have to add that word again and emphasize that, unforgettable brands and marketing strategy. This is huge because you want to be able to describe exactly who you are, but what you do and what you do that brings value to affect others. This is a timely conversation. So listen, I would love to see in the chat really quickly. We're going to get into this and talk about brand and what that means for you and how you're going to develop that today and why it's important. Listen real quick though. Let me give you a lead up. I am audacious, I'm relentless, and I'm solutions oriented. Type in the chat 2 or 3 words to describe yourself, the value that you bring, not just what you do, not just who
I
you work
like it.
for,
That's why I'm being
right,
quiet. You have
JT?
me be quiet. I
Because
mean, you
it's
said the
not,
good stuff, so I'm listening.
I want to see the chat going. Come on, Gunn Nicole. I went by design. Just a couple words really quick. What value do you drive? Jazz, if you're on it, Lamika, if you're on it, let's see some feedback. Because here's the thing. Let's think about this. Why is brand important right now? And we're going to get into what is brand. Think about the economy that we're in right now. So we have seen since COVID 2020 so many different phenomena with the employment industry, right? So we saw the great resignation, the great layoff, the great reshuffle. Now we're in the, what is it? The quiet quitting, and then also the great reassignment. Now I project that the next phenomenon that we're going to see is the great
I'm not ready for that.
AI
I'm not ready for
replacement.
that.
How about that?
So, yeah, I'm not ready.
Who is listening to that? Because that's real.
It is.
I mean,
Go ahead. Sorry.
when you think about it from that perspective, you want to stay ready. You want people to know who you are and the value that you bring. Hence why I am saying drop it in the chat what value you bring. So let's talk about brand. What is brand? Is brand a logo?
To
JT, what
me,
is brand?
brand
What is
is,
brand for
like you
you?
said, it's not the person you are, but to me, it's like who you represent, how you want that to represent you as if you were known by something. Like if I'm JT the networker, then I want to have some branding about that so that people know, oh, if you say JT, you can affiliate networking with me, not just anything out there. So that's how I would look at it. That's my layman's term.
So Kaylani said the great who? Girl, you heard me. The great reshuffle, the great resignation, the great AI replacement is coming. So I like what you're saying, but I'd love to think about brand from this position. So just to give you a little bit of background and a little bit of cred for myself, I work with LinkedIn. I develop brand, I drive strategy, I plan. Once again, for those who are joining. So I'm in the game. I see what's happening in the marketing industry. I see what's happening with employment because that's huge on the LinkedIn platform. But I see what's happening in the B2B and B2C space and how things are becoming really competitive. When I think about brand off the top, let's think about the big call outs, Nike, Google. Let's think about Amazon. But then let's think about other things that tug at the heart. Let's think about Tiffany's.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one, the jewelry store. When you think about brand, brand is an emotion. Brand is a feeling. It's that feeling and emotion that you provide that compels someone to come in and purchase or to work with you. And JT, this is exactly what is working successfully for you. Now, I've known JT for a very long time. For those of y'all who
We do.
don't know, we go way back, way back. What I know about JT is that she cares, she leads with empathy, she gets the job done, and she's going to keep you laughing. So when you think about brand, that's the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to you. Now, as a realtor,
Good job, realtor.
I'm
Yes,
pronouncing
good
it
job.
correctly. That's what you're looking for. You want someone that you can trust, that's loyal, that has good personality, that's not going to stress you out. That's brand. So think about your brand and the value that you drive when you're working at work, with employment, with customers, with whatever it is. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at Kelly's AI replacement.
So Heather, how do you go about creating a brand? Or by, this is what comes to my mind.
I would say this, aside from thinking about our values, which we just talked about, there's a great book by Donald Miller. And in this book, he drives home this point that number one, brand is story. We live in story. Story is fascinating. It's interesting. We love a good story, but know your listener when you're telling that story. Know how to synthesize and encapsulate everything. Brand is story, but you never want to assume that people understand how your brand can change their lives. So you have to tell them. After you develop those values, you find your platform and you tell them. When you think about platforms and capabilities, we have all the resources in the world. Let's take LinkedIn, for example, because that's an arm's length away for me. When I'm on the LinkedIn platform, I am looking first and foremost at your picture. We want to put a face with a brand. We want to see a happy face. How many times, that's right, have I seen a picture without a smile?
Probably numerous times. Are you inclined to click on that person's profile, or are you kind of like turned off by that? Swipe
I just keep
left.
swiping.
Sorry.
I just keep going, right? We're not saying. No, we want to see a happy, friendly face. And that's professional, or at least in alignment with what you do. That's important. In alignment with what you do. Be authentic with your brand. When you are on platform, on LinkedIn, be authentic with who you are. We want to know you, the real you. When you're creating your brand, we see more studies now that the real individual is that person that we want to connect with, and that person that will go far. I mean, by far more than anything else than creating a facade. So we want to know the real you. And then next, when you're thinking about brand and using your platform, look at the language that you use. Look at the content. Look at the imagery. Look at the creative that you use. How are you affecting people with your verbiage, with your communication, with your imagery? You want to target those individuals that are specific to you, and you want to complete driving home this memory of brand by speaking to the value of
You
what
want
you
them
do
to match.
consistently.
You want them to match.
Does
You
that
don't want to
answer your
have, if you were a high upper echelon type of brand, you don't want to have this lower level vernacular, because people are going to tie that with you, and it's going to speak before you can even speak. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. It's a direct reflection of who you are. Absolutely. So on this call, how many of y'all have a LinkedIn page, or how many of you all use, I'm not going to say IG because we're on it, but use your platform to promote your brand? Yo, they are not answering
That's all
fast
right.
enough for me. I'm going to need y'all to answer a little bit faster. But look, here's the thing. So let me tell you what's real with brand right now. It is so complex. It is not easy to go into this landscape, since the digitization of the world at this point, and now with AI, since everything in 2020, we are all online. So you're competing for that mental availability, that mind space, that mind share. So when you're thinking about brand, I'm not going to remember you if you post one time like I do regularly. I post probably once a year.
Once a year, did you say? Okay,
Once a
okay.
year.
But you have brand recognition. So how did you build that brand recognition? You're giving us some tips on how to get there, right? So we're at 6:12. We got about 11 minutes. Drop those nuggets. Drop those PowerPoints, Heather, because you're already giving them to us. So let's keep hearing what you got.
Absolutely. So listen, step into your power. Number one, own who you are. And I am speaking to everybody on this call because that's real. This is the realness of it. Understand who you are and the value you bring, number one. And then I want you to scream it to the mountaintops. And that is why I posted that picture on the flyer, because it is so important that you make sure that your voice is heard and that your image is heard consistently. So you're using and leveraging multiple platforms, and studies show that when you're using many of these platforms, people are going to recognize you. So I want you to get into an organization, and I'm not just going to shout out NDC Baltimore because I'm the president at this point in time, but I'm going to do that.
Yes.
I just did it.
Heather, I have a question for you because you gave, again, some great PowerPoints. So can you speak to the blurred lines to that personal and professional image?
That's a really good call out. Super glad you brought that up, because here's the deal. We used to have a professional face, a 9 to 5, get up, get in your car, sit in traffic, go to work. That's your professional face. Don't nobody know about what you do in your personal life, that kind of thing. But all of that is gone. When we take a look at platforms, even professional platforms, we want to understand the whole person, the whole person. So holistically looking at how you bring value and drive value to your friendships, your organizations, your family, your friends, all of that is an integral piece in creating commitment, loyalty, trust, confidence with your employment or with your business. That's really important. Also, JT, before you move forward, when you're looking at social media, the access is just insane. You can find just about anything about everybody online, which is why I'm saying be consistent with your brand. I had a friend, and I don't know if this person is on here, but this person was able to look up all types of old content on me that I posted 20, 30 years ago. You have to be real consistent.
That's true. That's true, because it can help you and it can hurt you, right? And the thing is, I think when you're setting your brand, because people, I feel like nowadays they just kind of jump into things because everybody's a coach, everyone's this. But if you have that background to show you've been developing over years, that gives you more credibility, wouldn't you say? Or how do you turn that around to you want to rebrand yourself?
That's a really good question. I love that, because that's real right now. So when you're thinking about rebranding, again, it's one, I would say recommend do a little bit of research on yourself and look yourself up. Have someone else do some data cleanse or what have you. Look yourself up to see where you stand with your online presence. If it's that bad, or dare I say, if it's that janky, I mean, no shame here. Take a look at yourself, see what's going on. And then number two, begin defining who you are and begin aligning with your purpose, your mission, vision, and values. And I want you to scream that to the mountaintop. I want you to make sure that you're advocating and you're speaking about who you authentically are on whichever platform you can. People will not remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And that can help help you or break you, help make you or break you, right? Because people are going to remember that. People be like, well, that person did me a bad job, so I don't want to work with them again. And you could be the best person they need, but because you made them feel less than great, they will go to the next person and possibly have less value of work that they're receiving from it or service. So
oh my gosh,
you're speaking to this, Heather, and it's so. Is that how you make your brand unique or the different brand differentiation?
That's a piece of it, but there are layers to this. There are layers. When you think about brand, I will say this. What I'm seeing in marketing right now, and I absolutely had no idea that I'd be in marketing. Let me just say that because I was always a pharma girl. So this is a whole new eye-opening experience to be able to build brand and have this new skill set to develop and share it. So when you think about brand and differentiating yourself, think about what most people are doing and don't do that. So here's what happens with most companies. I'm going to say 99% of the companies that I work with will do the exact same thing. I mean, completely the same thing. And what do? We see a challenge and we follow that challenge. We see some type of routine or makeup or dance or song, and we do the same thing. Help yourself stand out by absolutely doing something completely different. Look at the trends and then look at what your value is and work off of that. You need to leverage that. So if it's fun, use something fun, like with yourself, with colors, with kids, with new opportunities, with new routines, new locations. All of that is fun and it's eye-catchy and it's attractive. And one more thing, stay ahead of the trend. Don't follow the trend. If you want to know what the new trends will be, go on TikTok and look at kids. Look at what they're doing. Ask little kids what's important to them, and you'll stay one step
That's a good
ahead of what's
point.
coming.
So I want to ask you this real quick because I love how you think. You know, you drop so many pieces of nuggets, the information out there to people. It's just too much for like 20 minutes. But well, I'm a drain you.
Looking at my
I'm a
book
drain
behind
you
me.
here.
Is that
Yeah.
what it is?
So how do you
Face
take
to
your
face.
brand from good to great?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's a really good question. How do you take your brand from good to great? Number one, analyze yourself, analyze what you are doing. Number two, get feedback. Absolutely, get feedback. You are not the last person or the first person with that thought, but you want to tap on mentors. You want to tap on other people who have, better knowledge than you do. And that's the sign of being a genius, of course, is knowing that you're not the brightest person in the room. Tap on someone else, get feedback with what you are already doing, and begin implementing that. If you need a team, a strategy, a plan, I'm here for insight. I can certainly help, but it's about sticking to that. One last thing, when you want to take something from good to great, think about the executive functions, manage your time allocation. If you're going to do this and in it to win it, then you be committed. Allocate your time. Do not spend all your day dedicated to things that
Say
are
that
not
again.
driving you revenue. Do not dedicate your time to things that are not
And that's
driving
so
you revenue.
hard. That's so hard
Thank
because
you,
the thing is,
JC.
you're out there, you want to get this, I know for me, I want to help people, but now I'm like, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So Heather, this has been awesome. We started 3 minutes after. Is there anything else you want to drop out there for your PowerPoints and nuggets of knowledge for the people?
Um, First of all, I just want to say thank you, Khalid Birdsong, for the excellent advice anytime, and I'm charging for my advice any point in time. I say, you know what? Embrace your authenticity. Do you? This is the perfect time and age to do that. We want to see differences with people. We don't want to see the same cookie cutter. That's what will take you far. And when you embrace your authenticity and lead with empathy, that's going to be the huge
Man,
differentiator. And also, just link me on LinkedIn, please. Anybody who's on,
you
link me on LinkedIn
You read
because
my mind. I
I'm
was going
not
to
on
ask you, how
IG.
can the people contact you? Because, I'm going to contact you all the time. I always tap into you, Heather. Heather's a great mastermind. I really appreciate you. And, again, there was not enough time here, but you dropped a lot of knowledge here. So, everybody, thank y'all for joining us. Contact Heather. Lamika's going to be on here next week. We have a special guest. It'll be a surprise. But, Heather, you can always come back, too. All right? And with that,
Thank
y'all,
you.
we're
Bye,
out.
y'all.
Thanks for joining us today. Bye.
Bye.